Most people spend their entire lives chasing money, working harder, sacrificing more, and still staying exactly where they started. Bad millionaires don't work harder or luckier than you. They follow a path most never see. A system that turns time into leverage, effort into assets, and silence into power. And this isn't about getting rich fast. It's about becoming someone money is forced to follow. Someone who builds value quietly, multiplies influence strategically, and moves through the world on their own terms. And once you understand this elite path, everything you thought about success changes forever. Becoming a millionaire on the elite path never begins with money, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling a shortcut that doesn't exist. It begins in a quiet internal shift where you stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something you design. At this stage, there is no luxury, no recognition, no applause, only awareness. You begin to notice patterns others ignore. You see how most people are trapped in cycles of urgency, reacting to bills, emotions, and opinions, while confusing movement with progress. The elite path demands the opposite. It asks you to slow down mentally while moving faster, strategically. You start questioning everything you were taught about success, especially the idea that hard work alone creates wealth. You realize that effort without direction only leads to exhaustion, not freedom. Slowly, your relationship with time changes. You stop spending it and start investing it. Nights that were once wasted on distraction are now used for learning, planning, and sharpening skills that compound. You understand that the market doesn't reward intention, it rewards value. So you begin building value in silence. You choose one high-income skill and go deeper than most people are willing to. While others chase motivation, you build discipline. While others look for balance, you accept temporary imbalance in pursuit of long-term control. Money at this stage is inconsistent and often disappointing. But something far more important is forming identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes to be rich and start seeing yourself as someone who builds systems. You become comfortable being misunderstood. Friends question your choices. Family worries about your obsession, but you see what they can't yet see. The invisible foundation forming beneath your life. You learn to delay gratification, not as punishment, but as strategy. Every dollar saved is not hoarded, is prepared for deployment. Every mistake becomes data. Every failure becomes feedback. You don't rush results because you understand leverage takes time. This is where the elite path filters people out. Many quit here because there is no dopamine, no validation, no proof that it's working, but you continue because your confidence no longer comes from outcomes, it comes from understanding the game. And once you understand the game, patience becomes power. As momentum begins to build, your thinking expands beyond survival and into structure. You are no longer focused on earning money. You're focused on controlling how money moves. Income becomes intentional. You reject the danger of relying on a single source because you've learned that security is an illusion sold to the unprepared. You design multiple streams, not randomly, but strategically, each one serving a specific purpose in your ecosystem. One stream provides stability, another growth, another option. You begin separating emotion from finance. Fear no longer dictates decisions. Logic does. You stop buying things to feel successful and start buying assets to become powerful. Your lifestyle remains restrained, not because you can afford more, but because you understand the cost of distraction. This phase is about multiplication, not consumption. You study how money behaves under pressure, how markets reward patience, and how most people sabotage themselves by acting on impulse. You begin to think in probabilities instead of hopes. Losses no longer scare you. Uncalculated risk does. You invest in knowledge aggressively, understanding that education with application creates asymmetrical returns. Your network changes naturally. You don't chase people. Alignment attracts them. Conversations become sharper, quieter, more strategic. You stop explaining your vision to people who can't see it. Your focus narrows. Your standards rise. Discipline becomes automatic. You protect your energy like an asset, because now you understand its value. Work is no longer about hours, it's about outcomes. This is where confidence becomes dangerous if unmanaged. So you counter it with humility and data. You track everything. You measure progress ruthlessly. You understand that scale amplifies both strengths and weaknesses. So you eliminate inefficiencies before growth exposes them. The elite path here feels powerful but restrained, like a loaded engine waiting for the right moment to accelerate. You are no longer chasing the million. You are building the machine that makes it inevitable. When the machine starts working, the shift is undeniable. Money flows with consistency, not excitement. You no longer check numbers obsessively. You review them strategically. Wealth stops feeling fragile because it is no longer dependent on your daily presence. This is where lifestyle upgrades appear. But subtly, comfort replaces urgency. Choice replaces obligation. You begin to experience the real benefit of money, not luxury, but optionality. You can walk away from bad deals, toxic environments, and misaligned opportunities without fear. Time bends in your favor. You invest heavily in health, realizing that physical energy is the multiplier most people ignore. You optimize sleep, nutrition, movement, and mental clarity with the same precision you once applied to business. Your thinking stretches into decades. Short-term wins lose their appeal. You begin building things meant to outlive trends. Risk management becomes your silent obsession. You structure your life so that downside is limited and upside remains open. You diversify intelligently, not out of fear, but out of respect for uncertainty. Your identity is no longer attached to hustle. It's attached to control. You delegate ruthlessly, automate strategically, and focus only on decisions that move the needle. Influence starts to grow, but you remain selective about where you apply it. The world begins to respond differently to you, but you remain internally unchanged. Ego's kept in check because you remember the early days, the silence, the doubt, the invisible work. You know how quickly everything can disappear if arrogance replaces discipline. This phase is quiet dominance. No noise, no rush. Just execution at a level most never reach. Eventually, the number itself loses meaning. The million arrives, not as a moment, but as confirmation. By the time it happens, you've already moved beyond it mentally. What occupies your mind now is legacy, what remains after profit. You think about leverage at scale, about shaping environments where value multiplies through others. You invest in people, ideas, and systems that create impact beyond your direct involvement. Wealth becomes responsibility. You understand that money amplifies intent, so you guard your intent carefully. Your life feels lighter now, not heavier. Decisions are made from alignment, not pressure. You no longer seek validation because you no longer need permission. The elite path has stripped you of insecurity and replaced it with self. You recognize that true freedom is not the absence of work, but the ability to choose meaningful work.